Ever meet an American who talks about the UK like they just discovered it? Wow, you have castles and tea? Mind blown? Today, we're diving into the hilarious moments when Americans act like the UK is a brand new world. You won't believe some of these stories, and stick around because it somehow gets even better. Before we continue, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. And if you love history, culture, or laughing at well-meaning confusion, this video is for you. From thinking London is a small town, to being shocked by roundabouts, Americans in the UK sometimes act like they've discovered Narnia. We're breaking down the funniest moments, the biggest misconceptions, and the reactions that Brits will never forget. And before we start, hit that like button if you've ever traveled somewhere and realized you knew absolutely nothing about it. Segment 1. The first time in London. Shock. Imagine this. An American tourist steps off the plane, looks around, squints at Big Ben, and quietly asks, "Is this the real London?" Yes, this is it. This is the London. It's been here for a while. Some ask if the Queen lives nearby, like just around the corner. Others photograph pigeons in Trafalgar Square as if they're rare wildlife. It's that unmistakable look, the "I just discovered Europe" face. Americans in the UK bring a unique sense of wonder to everything. Segment 2. Tea time confusion. Tea in the UK isn't just a drink, it's a lifestyle. But Americans often treat it like a strange experiment. You drink this every day? Yes. Multiple times a day? Absolutely. With milk? Obviously. Some Americans ask where the sweet tea is. Others wonder why there's no ice. And a few genuinely believe tea time is a scheduled national event where everyone stops moving at exactly 4 p.m. The confusion around British tea culture never gets old. Segment 3. Castles and the Discovery Complex. Americans love castles, but sometimes they react like they've uncovered a hidden secret. Wait, this is a real castle? Yes. It's not a movie set. It's not a theme park. It's been standing longer than your country. They'll ask who built it, why it's still there, and whether people actually lived inside. Some even say things like, "You should tell more people about this place." Trust me, we know. It's on the map. Segment 4. British words that break American brains. Language should be easy, right? Same alphabet, same language. Wrong. Lift instead of elevator. Boot instead of trunk. Biscuit instead of cookie. Americans order chips and get fries. They ask for fries and get confused looks. They hear someone say, "You all right?" and start explaining their entire life story. British English feels familiar, until it suddenly doesn't. Segment 5. Geography and history gone wild. Some Americans believe the UK is basically just London. Others think Scotland is a neighborhood. A few assume Ireland is part of the UK, and that conversation usually ends badly. Then there's history. Shakespeare being American. Stonehenge being recently built. Or asking what year the UK became a country. British history is long, complicated, and absolutely brutal to explain in one conversation. Segment 6. British food shock. British food has a reputation, and Americans arrive ready to judge. Then they discover full English breakfasts, Sunday roasts, and meat pies. Confusion turns into cautious respect, but there's still disbelief. Beans on toast? Mushy peas? Gravy on chips? Americans try to process this like it's a cultural puzzle. Some love it, some fear it. All of them talk about it. Segment 7. Weather expectations versus reality. Americans expect constant rain, thick fog, and gloomy skies. Then they arrive during a heat wave and don't know how to react. Why doesn't anyone have air conditioning? The UK weather isn't extreme, it's unpredictable. One minute it's sunny, the next minute it's raining sideways. Americans don't discover the weather discovers them. Segment 8. Pub culture confusion. British pubs shock Americans. There's no host, no server following you around. You walk up, order, pay, and sit wherever you want. It feels illegal. Then there's the lack of free refills, the quiet drinking, and the fact that children and dogs are just there. Americans don't just enter pubs, they study them. Segment 9. British politeness versus American friendliness. Americans are friendly, Brits are polite. These are not the same thing. Americans start conversations with strangers. Brits apologize to furniture they bump into. When these two styles meet, confusion follows. Americans think Brits are cold. Brits think Americans are intense. Both are slightly correct. Segment 10. Volume control issues. One thing Brits notice immediately? Volume. Americans are louder, not on purpose, just naturally. In quiet cafes, on trains, or in museums, American voices echo like announcements. Brits don't say anything. They just notice, silently, forever. Segment 11. The "we're basically the same" moment. At some point, Americans say it, we're basically the same, right? And Brits pause. Same language? Sort of. Same culture? Not really. Same history? Absolutely not. This is the moment Americans realize the UK isn't a smaller version of home. It's older, weirder, and proudly different. Segment 12. Everything is so old. Another thing Americans in the UK love to point out is age. Everything is old. Not just historically old, emotionally old. You'll hear things like, "Wow, this pub is older than my country," said with a mix of awe and mild concern. You tell them a building is from the 1600s, and they stare at it like it might crumble if they blink too hard. Meanwhile, locals are like, "Yeah, that's the new bit." To Americans, anything over 200 years old belongs in a museum. In the UK, it's just where Dave goes for a pint after work. Segment 13. Portion size panic. One of the fastest ways to spot Americans in the UK is at a restaurant, specifically when the food arrives. They look down, they look back up, then they say, "Is this the whole meal?" British portions confuse Americans deeply. There's no bucket of soda, no plate the size of a steering wheel, and refills? Absolutely not. To Americans, eating in the UK feels less like dinner and more like an appetizer that never becomes the main event. The shock is real and the hunger is constant. Segment 14. British weather obsession. Americans love to comment on British weather. Constantly, it's cloudy. Yes, it's raining again. Correct. How do you live like this? We simply do. What really confuses them is how little Brits react to it. Rain isn't an event. It's background noise. Americans expect weather to happen. Thunderstorms, blizzards, drama. In the UK, it's just mild disappointment with occasional drizzle. Segment 15. Accent guessing gone wrong. Americans also love British accents, but they can never quite place them. They hear one accent in London and assume the entire country sounds like that. Then they go to Liverpool or Newcastle and panic. Suddenly it's, "Wait, is this still English?" Yes. Technically, accent diversity in the UK hits Americans like a plot twist. Same island, same language, completely different sounds. It's discovery all over again. Segment 16. Why is everything smaller? Cars are smaller, roads are smaller, houses are smaller, and Americans notice. Immediately. They'll say things like, "How do you fit a family in here?" The answer is simple: creatively. British homes weren't designed for massive fridges, walk-in closets, and a garage bigger than the living room. To Americans, it feels like the UK was built in compact mode. Segment 17. Discovering British politeness. One of the most confusing discoveries for Americans in the UK is politeness. People apologize for everything. Bumping into someone? Sorry. Someone bumps into you? Sorry. Queuing is sacred. Cutting the line is a crime against humanity. Americans slowly realize this isn't just politeness, it's a system. By the end of their trip, they're apologizing to chairs they walk into, fully assimilated. Conclusion. So when Americans think they discovered the UK, it's not arrogance, it's amazement. Everything feels familiar but slightly off, like stepping into an alternate timeline. From castles and tea to pubs and politeness, the UK leaves an impression that Americans never forget. And honestly, watching them experience it for the first time, that's half the fun. If you enjoyed this, like the video, subscribe for more cultural chaos, and let me know in the comments, what was the biggest UK shock you experienced? Until next time, mind the roundabouts, and don't insult the tea.